Hey, ninth grade, I want to talk to you a little bit about this week's schedule. If you've noticed, we have switched from 4 assignments a week to just two. Okay, so on Mondays and Wednesdays, I'll be posting your two assignments for the week. Nothing will be due officially until Friday. The sooner you turn it in, the sooner it will get graded, and the sooner the grades will get posted to Manage Back. So, with that being said, today's assignment, Monday, is on rhetorical appeals. This is a break from your reading because we've been really booking through the reading, but we want to take a couple minutes to slow down and get ready for the trial that's about to happen. So, in your reading, you know that Tom Robinson has been accused of raping Mayella Yule. Mayella Yule is a Yule. She belongs to the Yule clan, like Burris. And remember, we met him in chapter 3, and he had lice, and he was dirty and gross and disgusting. So Mayella Yule, she lives with her bunch of siblings and her drunk dad behind the town dump. And Mayella Yule is white. And I believe she's 19. So she's a young white woman, and she has accused Tom Robinson of raping her. And so as we prepare for this trial, I want to talk to you a little bit about rhetorical appeals. And to introduce this topic, I had you guys work through a ed puzzle today. But in case you didn't understand, I want to go over them with you in my own words, just so you understand. And if you need any more assistance or clarification, hopefully you get that in this in the screencast. So when we talk about rhetoric and rhetorical appeals, it's the way that we persuade people to do things. And it's without saying, like, I want you to clean your room. Okay, so there's a bunch of different ways that you can persuade people without actually saying that. So it's used to influence audiences and persuade readers or to get you on the side of whoever is creating this argument. So you can see it in political speeches, commercials, TVs, newspapers, and even in daily conversations. A lot of times you might have arguments with your parents about cleaning your room or doing your chores or why playing Xbox for 16 hours a day is a terrible idea, right? So in those conversations, you're probably using rhetoric and you don't even know it. So rhetorical appeals were created, introduced by this guy named Aristotle. He's really old. You can Google him if you want. And he was a philosopher, and he said that the three main ways that we get people to do something is through their ethos, their pathos, and their logos. So we're going to talk about those today. I know in the video you watched, it called them rhetorical devices. We're going to call them rhetorical appeals. Okay, devices are going to apply to a different set of strategies that you use to appeal to appeals. So, for example, an anaphora, which we're not going to talk about, an anaphora is a rhetorical device that helps you appeal to someone's pathos, right? So, when I say rhetorical devices, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about rhetorical appeals. Appeals always means ethos, pathos, and logos, and they make this cool triangle, which we might talk about, but I don't know yet. So the first one is logos. This one is the easiest because it makes the most sense, right? You would appeal to someone or you persuade them by using logic. And so when we talk about logic, we're looking for facts, statistics, and historical proof. A lot of times, like if we're in court, they might reflect on or refer to something called precedent. Precedent means like this is what's been done before, so this is why we should do it now. If you can look at this ad here on my screen, this is from the Department of Transportation, and it says hit at 40 miles per hour, there's a 70% chance I'll die. At 30 miles per hour, there's an 80% chance I'll live, right? And so this ad is trying to use logos or the appeal to logic as to why people should drive the speed limit. Logos often uses if then statements. So if you hit a child going 30 miles per hour, then there's an 80% chance they'll live. Or if you hit a child at 40 miles per hour, there's a 70% chance they'll die. So if you are looking to use logos, you can always see if those things fit into an if then statement. The next one is ethos. And I think that ethos is the hardest one because persuading by credibility um, is like the hardest to visualize or to touch or to pick out, right? So ethos is the appeal using ethics, morals, or credibility, right? I can believe you because you are a credible person. You're a credible source. Um, so if a person is trying to use ethos, they might be really well spoken. They might look the part. Maybe they're dressed in a suit. They use correct grammar. They're well spoken again, or they create this sincere environment, like using a really calm tone. Um, and the most common way this is used in the ways that you guys are going to see it is when we use experts, professionals, or someone famous. So, for example, in this Nike ad, this is obviously an ad for LeBron shoes, and it says the second coming, right? So you want to buy these LeBron shoes, these Nike shoes, because LeBron wears them. He's a credible source. He plays basketball. Maybe you look up to him. Maybe you envy him. But if you wear these shoes, you can be like LeBron. That's when we persuade using credibility. Or if we say, like, 8 out of 10 dentists recommend Colgate, right? You would be more likely to use Colgate because it's recommended by professionals in that category. A lot of times, like makeup companies will refer to like dermatologists or like how people have seen different doctors or anything like that. So, doctors, celebrities, professionals. So, for example, if, or another example would be if we're talking about like a pizza maker, right? And in your ad, you talk about how like this pizza maker is from Italy. He's been making pizza for his whole life and he recommends ragu sauce, right? He's a credible source because he's been, one, hopefully using the product, two, he has many years of experience, and he's a professional in his trade or his craft. Um, and so he knows what's good pizza sauce. And so he would recommend ragu. The last one is pathos. And pathos is your appeal to emotions. It's about making your viewer feel some type of way. Okay, and if there were a better way to say that, I would say it, but I've been teaching ethos, pathos, and logos for, I don't know, probably 7 years, and I cannot come up with a different way to explain it. Um, so it's about making your reader or your viewer feel what you're feeling, right? Feel it deep in their gut, make them tear up, make them laugh, make them smile. Um, and so causing that emotional reaction creates brand loyalty. It creates the willingness to go out and do something. So the best example of persuading by emotions is those terrible, awful, sad SPA, SPCA commercials, right? Where they're playing that really sad Sarah McLachlan song. They're showing you all these pictures of abused animals and they're like, go adopt a dog or send us money, right? Those ads, they appeal to your emotions, right? They make you feel some type of way. And when I watch them, I'm like, oh my God, I need to go buy a dog right now. But I can't, right? So then I am brought back by my own logic. But the idea is that they can get to you by triggering those emotions in you. um, so other ways that, like more specifically in writing, ways that they do this are they use figurative language or imagery or vivid descriptions and what's called loaded language. So when we talk about loaded language, we're going to talk about words like America and freedom and independence. And a lot of that will come through like tone and intonation, but when you're reading, if someone is using strong language like that or strong verbs or strong actions, um, those are ways that you can persuade using emotions. So if you look at this ad here on the screen, it says spare parts for humans are not as original as those for cars. Don't drink and drive. So this ad is one using loaded language because it's talking about a human leg as a spare part, right? So that's loaded language in this ad. Um, and I would say the image is also pretty vivid, saying that, if you drink and drive, you could use your legs and have to end up with a prosthetic. Um, so those are your three big rhetorical appeals. Well, those are the only rhetorical appeals. Um, and so as you move forward with this week's work, tomorrow you're going to get an article, and you'll have to just identify these different appeals within that article. Tomorrow I will be live with Mr. Dunkelbarger at 10:30, from 10:30 to 11. And so we'll work through that assignment together. If you want to come, I highly recommend it, especially if you don't have experience with ethos, pathos, and logos. It'll be a really informative session for you. If you can't come, the replay will be posted for you on Google Classroom eventually. Hopefully tomorrow, hopefully Wednesday at some point. But I make no guarantees. So again, that session is Wednesday at 10:30. I hope that you all are well, and I hope to see you then.